Good morning. Today is AA Day. Hopefully you guys can see me okay. Can you see me okay and hear me? Okay, thank you. So today is AA Day. It is June 27th, 2023. This is an AA meeting and no bullying, no judgment. That means no rude comments. For some reason, I'm like glaring on my own screen. How is it for you? Hopefully it's okay. I don't have a co-host today. She's taking the day off. She needs a break, so she's taking a break. And hopefully she'll be back soon. Say prayers for her, and I am looking forward to today's meeting and discussing how it makes me feel on what we're reading. I do put in the description the page number, the chapter name, and we are in chapter 7. Let me double check. Yeah, we are in number 7 and on page 95. Hello, Roy and Becky. Thank you for coming, and thank you for the raid. So we don't like the bullying and rude comments. So please, if that's what you're here for, don't even comment. If you don't want everybody to know that maybe you are a supporting family member or friend, or just another recovering alcoholic, or your first day even, and you don't want people to know, please don't chat, because the chat does upload. For some reason, I'm not able to figure out how to get that to not upload. But just hit the like button so I know you're here and that you are listening and trying to help your friends or family members. This is help for everything, not just AA, because you can use this for every day-to-day life. I feel for myself, it makes my days better by working the steps every day and being able to, recognize that, hey, maybe I need to apologize for this, or if I need to get out of a situation, I've learned how to do that. So please feel free to be here and listen and hang out. If you feel up to it and like you're not worried about people knowing, feel free to chat. Also, if you need a step book, which is the 12 steps and 12 traditions, I have linked my Yahoo email in the description. We will send you one for free. Um, but yes, so but there are other places you can get these books. I'm not affiliated or sponsored by Amazon, but you can get them there. You can check them out at the library. Most libraries have them. Um, you can buy them online. Um, but yeah, so you can get a book, or even go to a meeting, which they are everywhere. And you can ask them about getting a book. Me, I've gotten like 3 of each for free because I've given mine away to someone that I felt could use it. And so that's my way of, besides doing this here, that's my way of showing, hey, there is help. And I just leave the book, don't say a word about it, and or hand it to them and say, here's a book whenever you're ready, because we can't force them to quit. And we cannot nag them to quit because that's got to be something they want to do for themselves. So I'm going to say the serenity prayer after I get a drink of my coffee, and then we'll get into the steps, and then I will start reading the big book on page 95. Okay. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. All right, I'm going to take my glasses off because I can't see to read with them on. 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. 7. Humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continue to take personal inventory and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Okay, we are on page 95 in the big book. Unless your friend wants to talk further about himself, do not wear out your welcome. Give him a chance to think it over. If you do stay, let him steer the conversation in any direction he likes. Sometimes a new man or woman is anxious to proceed at once, and you may be tempted to let him to do so. This is sometimes a mistake. If he has trouble later, he is likely to say you rushed him. You will be most successful with alcoholics if you do not exhibit any passion for crusade or reform. Never talk down to an alcoholic, from any moral or spiritual hilltop. Simply lay out the kit of spiritual tools for his inspection. Show him how they worked for you. Offer him or her friendship and fellowship. Tell him or her that if he wants to get well, you will do anything to help. If he or she is not interested in your solution, if he expects you to act only as a banker for his financial difficulties or a nurse for his sprees, you may have to drop him until he changes his mind or her mind. This he or she may do after he gets hurt some more. If he or she is sincerely interested and wants to see you again, ask him to read this book in the interval. After doing that, he must decide for himself whether he or she wants to go on. He or she should not be pushed or or prodded, by you, his wife, or his friends. If he or she is to find God, the desire must come from within. If he or she thinks he can do the job in some other way or prefers some other spiritual approach, encourage him or her to follow his or her own conscience. We have no monopoly to follow his own, we have no monopoly on God. We merely have an approach that works with us, but point out that we alcoholics have much in common and that you would like, in any case, to be friendly. Let it go at that. Do not be discouraged if your prospect does not respond at once. Search out other alcoholics and try again. You are sure to find someone desperate enough to accept with eagerness what you offer. We find it a waste of time to keep chasing a man or woman who cannot or will not work with you. If you leave such a person alone, he or she may soon become convinced that he or she cannot recover by him or herself. To spend too much time on any one situation is to deny someone some other alcoholic on an opportunity to live and be happy. One of our fellowship failed entirely with his first half dozen prospects. He or she often says that if he or she had continued to work on them, he or she might have deprived many others who had since recovered of their chance. Suppose now you are making your second visit to a man or woman. He or she has read this volume and says he or she is prepared to go through with the 12 steps of the program of recovery. Having had the experience yourself, you can give him or her much practical advice. Let him or her know you are available if he or she wishes to make a decision and tell his or her story, but do not insist upon it if he or she prefers to consult someone else. He or she may be broke and homeless. If he or she is, you might try to help him or her about getting a job or give him a little financial assistance. But you should not deprive your family or creditors of money they should have had or should have. Perhaps you will want to make the man or woman into your home for a few days, but be sure you use discretion. Be certain he or she will be welcomed by your family, and that he or she is not trying to impose upon you for money, connections, or shelter. Permit that and you only harm him or her. You will be making it possible for him or her to be insecure. You may be aiding in his or her destruction rather than his or her recovery. Never avoid those responsibilities, but be sure you are doing the right thing if you assume them. Helping others is the foundation stone of your recovery. A kindly act once in a while isn't enough. You have to act the good Samaritan every day. If need be, it may mean the loss of many nights' sleep, great interference with your pleasures, interruptions to your business. It may mean sharing your money and your home, counseling frantic wives and relatives, innumerable trips to police, court, sanitariums, hospitals, jails, and asylums. Your telephone may jingle at any time of the day or night. Your wife may sometimes say she is neglected. A drunk may smash the furniture in your home or burn a mattress. You may have to fight with him or her if he or she is violent. Sometimes you will have to call a doctor and administer sedatives under his or her direction. Another time you may have to send for the police or an ambulance. Occasionally you will have to meet such conditions. We seldom allow an alcoholic to live in our homes for long at a time. It is not good for him or her, and it sometimes creates serious complications in a family. Though an alcoholic does not respond, there is no reason why you should neglect his or her family, sorry. You should continue to be friendly to them. The family should be offered your way of life. Should they accept and practice spiritual principles, there is a much better chance that the head of the family will recover. And even though he or she continues to drink, the family will find life more bearable. For the type of alcoholic who is able and willing to get well, little charity in the ordinary sense of the word is needed or wanted. The men who cry for money and shelter before conquering alcohol are on the wrong track. Yet we do go to great extremes to provide each other with these very things when such action is warranted. This may seem inconsistent, but we think it is not. It is not the matter of giving that is in question, but when and how to give that often makes the difference between failure and success. The minute we put our work on a service plan, the alcoholic commences to rely upon our assistance rather than upon God. He clamors for this or that, claiming he or she cannot master alcohol until his or her material needs are cared for. Nonsense. Some of us have taken very hard knocks to learn this truth, job or not, no job. wife or no wife. We simply do not stop drinking so long as we place dependence upon other people ahead of dependence on God. Burn the idea into the consciousness of every man or woman that he or she can get well regardless of anyone. The only condition is that he or she trusts in God and clean house. Now, the domestic problem, there may be divorce, separation, or just strained relations. When you when your prospect has made such reputation reputation as he or she can to his family, and has thoroughly explained to them the new principles by which he or she is living. He or she should proceed to put those principles into action at home. That is, if he or she is lucky enough to have a home. Though his or her family be at fault in many respects, he or she should not be concerned about that. He or she should concentrate on his or her own spiritual denomination. Denomination. I think that's how you say it. Argument and fault finding are to be avoided like the plague. In many homes, this is a difficult thing to do, but it must be done if any results are to be expected. If persisted in for a few months, the effect on a man or woman's family, is sure to be great. The most incompatible people discover they have a basis upon which they can meet. Little by little, the family may see their own defects and admit them. These can then be discussed in an atmosphere of helpfulness and friendliness. After they have seen tangible results, the family will perhaps want to go along. These things will come to pass naturally and in good time provided. However, the alcoholic continues to demonstrate that he can be sober, concentrate, and be helpful, regardless of what anyone says or does. Of course, we all fall much below this standard many times, but we must try to repair the damage immediately lest we pay the penalty by a spree. I think I'm going to stop there, and because there's still like another 3 pages. So, I learned this when I was sober for a while, and I was trying to help people in my family and a few of my friends. I had one friend go back out, and I was like, I found this friend at a party, and I knew that this friend had been drinking, and it made me very upset. And so when I called this friend out on it, and they looked at me and realized that I knew, I didn't um, pass any judgment. All I said was simply, we need to talk. And so we talked. And this person cried to me, and I knew that they were struggling. And so I told this friend that they needed to come back and come back to meetings so that way, um, they knew that they were welcome back, and that was not a good path to be on again. And so it wasn't hard for my friend to decide that they wanted to come back because, they got me to go to meetings. And to me, that meant everything. When someone reached out to me and said, "Hey, there's this program, a uh, wonderful thing that we can get out of going to AA," and I was like, "Okay, well, when and where?" It was in my hometown, so I know a lot of people there, and so I was thinking maybe I'll see some people that I know. I did, but I can't say names because that's not my place. And so when I met my friend there, I hadn't seen him since I was 17, I want to say, maybe 17. Um, it was before I had no, I was about 16 because it was before I had my oldest son. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and meet my friend there, and let's see what happens. And I had already been sober for a while, and so I went, and I was intrigued because they were saying things that me as a newcomer, I'd never been in a meeting that I was actually uh, old enough to remember it all and stuff like that. So when I went to that meeting and I heard other people's stories, uh, of course, it's just sharing a little bit of their story because it wasn't a speaker meeting, which the speaker meetings are awesome. If you ever get a chance to go to one, I recommend it. So I left that meeting with a list of phone numbers, and so the next day I was like, I really need to find out when the next meeting is because it the first one, I was like, okay, this is making sense to me. And I'm not a very spiritual person. I am baptized, but I don't go to church. I got baptized because that's what my grandmother wanted. And so it wasn't for me. But so I got sober, and I I called three phone numbers out of that list of phone numbers that I received from my first meeting. And the the third person, the third lady that I called, she answered her phone, and I was calling because I wanted to know when the next meeting was. That's how much it made me feel. And so she became my sponsor. And I didn't know that I really needed a sponsor until a little while later. But she became my sponsor, and she's still my sponsor. Um, I'm 8 years and almost 8 months sober. Um, so I will say, for me, I am also a sponsor. So I have sponsees that I support, and it does help to have them. I think I have like three or four, and it helps me and helps them at the same time. Just being there to listen and let them know that I have had similar things like that happen, and I I have two sponsors. I have one from my home group, and I have one that was a coworker of mine, and thank you keeping up with Colorado. So and welcome Bobby Leroy. What do you need help with? If we could put in chat, I can see if I can help you with what you need. But so getting a sponsor is a plus, and my second sponsor was a coworker of mine. Because I am always open with anyone and everyone that I am a recovering alcoholic. I'm not shy about that. I'm not scared to share that, because being a recovery is a big deal. It's a big thing. When you come away from being that person you used to be when you were drinking all the time, it's a totally different ball game. I have gotten to do so many things being sober, having my true feelings, um, being able to make my amends right away, working my steps every single day. And once you start doing your steps, it's kind of a habit, and you start to not realize you're making your steps every day, but you are. And it's great to have these tools that we are learning about really do help. And it's just a blessing. And the reason I am doing these uh, meetings is because it has helped me so much. And it it's a great life being sober, and being able to have my family and my friends, and most important, my husband and my kids, because I I was not nice to them when I was drinking. Um, I have made my amends with them. So, and I've made amends with every person that I needed to. And I do it on a daily basis if I'm having issues with someone. I will use my voice and tell them how it's making me feel, which is something that we need to be able to do. And when you're a newcomer, you feel like you don't have a voice. And it took me quite a while to realize that I do have a voice, and I do have a right to say, hey, this is what's going on. This is how I'm feeling. Can you help me? And I'm not scared to call my sponsor or text my sponsor. And most of the time, both of my sponsors can tell just out of how I'm texting if I'm having a bad day or a good day. And they call me out on it if it's a bad day. So, um, but yeah, I recommend getting a sponsor and working your steps every day. It helps. You might not think it does, but it does. In the long run, it really does. I'm able to. I've watched both of my boys graduate. Um, they're adults, and they were adults when they graduated, but I still got to watch them both graduate, and that was a blessing. And I was sober for it. And I've had a lot of things happen in my life, good and bad, since being sober. But I've learned that I got to roll with it and find humility in everything. Even when it's a sad day, um, I just got to go with it because you can't control it, and you can't even try to control it. You can only work on you, and you can only control your actions and your thinking. Um, and sometimes that can be hard. sometimes that can be really, really hard on someone. But in the long run, doing your steps, getting a sponsor, reading your books, there are magazines you can get. It is other people's stories from other places. And just know that there is a meeting everywhere. You may not know what the language is, but it's a meeting, and you can understand uh, when they're just doing the prayers and stuff. And it's not to a God, it is for serenity, and it is for our own spiritual being. You don't have to be religious, which is great. You don't have to, um, report what religion you are. You can be connected to a God. You can be atheist. It doesn't matter. We don't judge you, and any gender can come, and any race can come, and everyone's welcome. And we don't judge each other in the meetings at all, because it's not fair to be judgmental to someone that is going through or has gone through the same thing you are. And you wouldn't want them to judge you. And so that's why when I open this meeting, I always say there's no judgment, because this is not the place for it. This is to help the ones that need the help, and the newcomers and the old timers. And, we are here to help. And there are a lot of people out there that do suffer from alcoholism, from um, other things. And so, and it's free. It's free help. And that's why I'm doing this also, it's because it's free. For free for me to try to help anyone I can. So, but I'm going to end the meeting and get ready for my trip. I will be live tomorrow morning at 7:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for upcoming adventures, and I hope to see you there. I will not be doing a live meeting on Saturday. I will be out of town, and so I hope you guys enjoy your week, and I hope to see you tomorrow. And I hope you all have a very wonderful day. And I will close out with the Serenity Prayer. I love you all, and just know there's help. You just have to want it for yourself. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. Love you all. Be safe. Be kind.